Hey, everybody, another edition of Backer Pause. No Chuck today. I've got some great guests, though, lined up to be the judges for these, and we're going to introduce them in just a second. And we're going live. So here it is. This is Backer Pause. Welcome to Backer Pause. What is Backer Pause? Well, it's when we get judges who are creators to sit down and watch crowdfunding videos that we are proudly advocating for on comicbookadvocates.com. And they hit pause when they lose interest in the videos that we are watching and experience backer pause. This is a fun way to teach creators about attention spans of the viewers and what works and does not work for their videos. Want to be a judge? Are you ready to play? Welcome to Backer Pause. All right, everybody. I'm going to introduce our guest. We have another guest judge coming in just a few seconds. But first, go ahead and tell them who you are, Mike.
Hi, my name is Michael Bankston. I read a ton of books, and I've recently backed a lot of Kickstarter. That's kind of my place right now.
So, which one was your favorite that you backed?
It's really hard to choose. I mean, a ton of them haven't come in, so it's hard to judge. The Naughty Fairies cards, although, we gave out some of those as Christmas presents, so that was really nice. And there were so many stretch goals.
Yeah, you're a big fan of the stretch goals, and our good friend James. Do you like JW or James?
JW is my professional name.
Gotcha. JW is joining us. What's going on, JW?
Not much.
We're just talking to Mike about how many projects he's been backing. He's a huge supporter, by the way. I'm blown away about what he did with the Advocator. For those who haven't heard me talk about, Mike is the one who actually gave us a little bit of a, what would you say, like just a quick review of every single story in the Advocator. I'd never seen anyone do that, and I'm so grateful to this date for that.
It was fun to do. I mean, as long as nobody gets upset when I write, this ain't really for me, I'm cool with it. Because some stuff I like and some stuff I don't like as much. I mean, I read a ton of books, but I wouldn't collect all those books.
Yeah.
But there are a few I'm sure that you saw in there, because I remember you writing that this is something I'm now going to check out.
Oh, yeah. There's certainly some stuff that really piqued my interest. And going into it, I knew there were two stories I was looking for. Chuck's Welcome to the Void and a Belial story. So even before I'd even seen the magazine, I was like, oh, I need to read these stories, because I'm a very big completist. I want to read everything there is to read about everything I follow, basically.
Yeah, and those two stories actually are very powerful for everything that goes with those different universes.
Yeah, they were decent stories. I mean, it was a good magazine. I'm sorry that it's changed, but I believe your new one's going to be similar, just not the same.
Well, I think to what you're talking about, that's Continuum is taking over for me, the Advocator. The Advocator was a great idea in principle. I have nothing bad to say about it. There were elements about it I never really liked. As someone behind the scenes, we were always looking for the people who had already kickstarted. I wanted to expand it. I wanted to help people create stories. I wanted to open it up to editorial. You know what I mean? Like, I really wanted to get in there behind the scenes and help new creators out. While the Advocator was always just a story, you can send us a story, and we would, as long as it wasn't horrible, we would accept it. You know what I mean? So there wasn't as much quality control. And there were a couple stories in the Advocator that if I had more time and was able to go back and suggest things, I believe I could have made them better stories. You know what I mean, Mike?
Oh, I absolutely think anything can be made better if people are willing to take some criticism. I wrote a story, and I'm working with Chuck and developing it. And yeah, he came back to me and said, I don't really like everything you did here. And, you want to go check it out? And I was rewriting it all yesterday, and it will be for later today still too. So I mean, you just, I mean, you can always make something better. I mean, even Marvel and DC that are professional companies, if they could go back and rewrite a bunch of stuff, I'm sure they would do a better job of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do want JD to introduce himself because you weren't here when we started the introduction. So, JW, tell him who you are.
Well, I am JW Sim. I am a comic creator. Dabble in writing a little bit, mainly art and coloring. I currently have a project Omni on Kickstarter. That's written by LC Holt, and I do all the art, coloring, and lettering. I'm also have been the colorist on Broke Down 4 Dead Bodies, and some other little crap that's around hanging around places that I don't even think was some stuff was even published.
Well, you were part of the monster story, right, with the Advocator?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Which is still one of my favorite ones. The monster story that I had, Mike, JW is actually the artist behind it.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. Like that made me I fell in love with the character all over again. We will do the 3rd issue of Monsters so I can finally get to Manny's story, because I didn't want to do Manny's story because his main story has to kind of explain what happened in the 3rd issue of Monsters. So I didn't want to race one out and spoil what I had planned. So we'll get 3 done, and then we're going to move on to doing an actual series with Manny. So I'm pretty excited. But if you guys are ready, we're going to start off with JW's video, and because he's a guest, there's no pausing it. But the cool thing is, me and JW did this on the fly. We didn't plan to do it. We just made it happen. So pretty excited about that. And Trish actually had mentioned a thing about Superman, and we're going to start there. So Trish said, you have to explain why he's not Superman. And it was just this great moment. I saw you shared it on social media, and it was getting some good views.
Yeah.
Have you gotten good feedback from it?
I guess like there's some people who I guess that they were glad that I did the video to try to explain that a little bit better. Excuse me. And I guess it was just a good thing for people to see that why I believe that this isn't just another Superman.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll play the Kickstarter video again so you guys know what it's about. And then we'll play the call him Soup's portion of that interview. Sound good, guys?
Good.
Here we go.
Hi, this is Omni. In a world without heroes, devoid of hope, a god amongst men rises from the shadows of war to unleash righteous justice on all who suppress the weak and weary. It's not easy fighting evil, especially when the world fears the very man they've called upon to protect it. In this pulse-pounding limited series, Floyd Miller, a beleaguered comic book enthusiast, must find fortitude to thwart the world's greatest foes after being bestowed abilities beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Hi, and this is JW, co-creator of Omni, and I just want to tell you a little bit about it. Floyd Miller, he's just a comic book geek like you and I, who has a favorite comic book character, Mega. When he comes in contact with this mysterious rock, somehow he gets the powers and the looks of Mega. And the book just asks, what would happen if Omni came to our world? How would people react? Would they think he's a god? Would they be afraid of him? And would the governments of the world try to use Omni as a weapon against each other?
For more details, check out the Kickstarter. Thank you for watching. And now here's the Soups portion of that interview. Friends say it looks too much like a rip on Superman. Needs the video to show the difference between please don't hate people for telling the truth. No, it's true. James has a different idea of it, and the fact that this kid picks it up, and again, I mean, Superman changed our lives. It's what we all fell in love with as kids. We all want to have that superhero being. But I get the feeling from what I've seen in this, it's a very different story in Superman.
And I just that, like, on purpose, it looks like Superman at the beginning. There's a reason why it's a Superman-esque story, like. But if you stick with us, especially after the first issue, you will start to see the difference between Omni and Superman. So, it's drawn like Superman because that's our superhero archetype. Anybody in the world who thinks of a superhero thinks of Superman, right? That's the first thing that pops into your head. So that's what we want. We want the world to see Superman. But by the end of issue 12, you'll have quite a different picture of Omni.
And I love it. And that was definitely informative. What did you think, Mike, seeing that? Because I know you were watching live. Did that help?
Oh yeah, I was here, of course, when Trish was talking to y'all, and I know she's the big fan of JW, so she was only trying to push the book far, and I think making that one point moved the book farther along. I mean, you talk about stuff, you got a video now, so I mean, it's only getting better for the book.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And some people are saying that they're hearing a little bit of echo. I'm not sure where that's coming. We'll just go around and mute ourselves until we're talking. Sometimes it's just feedback. So I'm going to mute you guys, and as I call on you, I'll unmute you. Sound fair?
Sure.
I can't hear the echo, so I can't tell where it's coming from on my end. So we'll do that. All right. So what we're going to do next, guys, is we're going to play the next video. But before we do that, because we're getting into the part of the video where we actually could say something someone might get offended by, we just want people to understand the following. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, guys, up first today, let's bring up our screen share. We have, first on the docket, by the way, you can get Cat Dad and Supermom now in previews until the 18th. Use order code JAN211523 and get a tale that teaches morals with farts. You could also get the recount from Jonathan Hendrick. That's also available till the 18th. And the recount number 3, that's JAN for January 211519. And that's very close to the real life happenings right now. It's almost weird and bizarre. But what's not weird and bizarre is capable. So we're going to check out how capable this video is of getting you guys not to hit pause. See what I did there? See what I did? Yeah. All right, so here we go. This is capable.
Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan Hedrick and I'm the writer and creator of Capable. I'm really excited to be able to bring you the campaign for issue 3 of the series. If you're new to Capable, this is a story about a world when one day people with disabilities gain superpowers that are opposite of what their handicaps were. The newest installment continues to show our main character, Derek, dealing with his newfound abilities while other individuals in his life are slowly discovering that they're changing too. And some of these people may not have the best intentions. I don't want to give away too much, so I hope you'll check it out. And don't worry if you haven't read the previous issues in the series. There's catch-up reward tiers available, as well as a link on the campaign page to read issues 1 and 2 completely free. I hope you'll consider backing this project. Thank you for your time.
I forgot to say, if you guys want to mute, just raise your hand. My bad. I should have actually said that, but the video was already playing. What did you guys think of it? And I'm going to unmute you. I realized that. Here we go.
I thought it was pretty straightforward, and that was good. I've seen this guy on a few interview shows, and just watching it straight through like that's the most attention I paid to it. And yeah, I feel bad for his book recount, because with politics the way they are, I would run from that book. I don't do politics.
I just had to cancel the book because of things I written have gotten too close to where we are now, and I'm gonna have to go back and rewrite it. So it's nothing. Yeah, when real life interferes, if Mike, you saw my video last night, I was complaining about it. Sometimes real life gets in the way of our creativity, because we even have to stop to think. And JW, I'm going to ask you this question: do you ever worry about writing something or drawing something that someone might later use in a bad way?
I will tell you, in the first couple pages of issue 2, the story has a lot to do with the current president. And when I first got the script, it was at the beginning of his presidency, so it wasn't quite as bad. And now I'm like, putting out this issue 2 is not going to be, especially when those are like the first couple pages you see. Some people can take it, either way, that why do we have this person in our book? Or, they'll be like, yes, this person really likes Trump. They put him in his book. So I worry about that, like people seeing, because I've had instances before where I've done something and people have taken it completely the wrong way. And so, yeah, it can be a thing that you worry about if something is too close to the real world, I guess.
Yeah, just real quick, Matt asked, would you mind analyzing my video for the pause factor? Yes, Matt, as long as you agree to our terms, and our terms are basically that we are going to be honest about it. It's not meant to hurt anyone's feelings. Like the beginning of the video, if you didn't see it, said, we're just being honest, whether or not we got bored, right, guys? That's all it is. We're comic fans, and when we watch these things, sometimes we get bored quick. Sometimes we're like, ooh, please play more. So yeah, Matt, you want it on? Just send it to us. But great point. And I'm like Mike, I don't like politics in my books. I like ideas. So whenever ideas get too close to politics, like I would never use a sitting president. That's a personal choice of mine, because you're too close to home now. And I would be nervous like you are, JW, like, okay, can we change it? Can we make him look like anyone else?
Yeah.
And I really think people need to understand that if you're writing something, it might not be your opinion. I mean, whether you're pro-Trump or against Trump, or pro-Biden or against Biden, if you write a character and they wave a flag for a person, that's because you wrote that character to do that, not because you're projecting yourself. And that's kind of a scary thing, because you write a character that says something mean to somebody. That doesn't mean that you're trying to say that mean thing. You're just trying to show a character.
Yes. Yeah, it's true. And it's hard. Being a creator, I talked about this yesterday, the famous Beavis and Butthead, where Beavis and Butthead threw a bowling ball off of an overpass, and some kids decided to do it as a prank, and someone got seriously hurt by it. For those who didn't know, that actually first was shown in The Good Son, which was a movie with Macaulay Culkin, of all people.
Yeah.
That movie.
Yeah. And after they showed that movie, kids did that. So sometimes people do take what we show and use it. So and like Mike said, sometimes people think that because your hero says something, it's what you think, and it's not always what you think. It's just what tells the story best. So it's complicated. So my suggestion to everyone: keep as many things like direct quotes, like don't have a president, talk about the president. Unless they're a character in your book, you never have to show them, because anyone's mind will take them to anyone they want them to be, whether it's a current president or a past president. As creators, we're supposed to distract people from the real world and entertain them, not become CNN in comic books. That's just my opinion. Everyone teach their own. You guys do what you want. That's just me as a creator. So and then the recount, I've read the recount, the issue #1. It's really good. I just hope, like you guys said, he doesn't get penalized for it now, and because he created this before any of this happens.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, we have to throw away an entire 4-page comic book story, and I have to start over and retell the story now because it came too close to home with recent events. And now if we release it, we're just going to be, oh, you guys are just trying to do it for this. Or like you said, JW, people put things in your work that weren't there. No, that's not what I meant. And once you release it, you don't own it anymore.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to watch another video, and there's the recount again for some reason, ironically. This is cool, though. If you have a kid, with all the art programs out there, Bobby Gregory reminds us, getting cut at schools, it is up to us as parents and as creators to make sure that there's content for kids to be inspired by. Richard Rivera, excuse me, has done a great job of that over at Scoot Comics with the Create a Comic one-shot. Definitely check this out. Brought to life by Richard Rivera and Michael Doran. All right, so here we go. This is Michael Oden. Do you guys know Michael Oden?
Yeah. He was on my show last
that's
week, too.
Oh, great. Now they both know him. I like when people don't know him because the pauses happen more. Like when you know a person, it's harder to pause their video. But you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, raise your hand or unmute yourself. The video automatically mutes you, but if you unmute yourself, you could always say pause, and away we go.
Sing, O goddess, the rage of Achilles that brought countless ills upon the Achaeans. Many a brave soul did it send hurrying down to Hades, and many a hero did it yield prey to dogs and vultures. Oh, hi there, you must be Kickstarter. I'm Michael Oden, creator and writer of Elysian Fields, and we've got something very special to offer you here today. This past spring, I launched a crowdfunding campaign on the Indiegogo platform for our Zero issue. The Zero issue story brought the mythic hero of the Trojan Achilles to a journey that started in finding peace in the afterlife, only to be brought to an arena where he would fight alongside other heroes at the behest of the Greek lord of the underworld, Hades. With the success of the initial Indiegogo, we were asked by many why we hadn't done Kickstarter. Well, we are listening, and so we are offering Kickstarter a special way to experience not only the Zero issue, but Pyramid Gambit as well. The softbound collector's edition, with cover by Scott Rosamond, collects all 78 pages of story between the Zero issue and Pyramid Gambit, as well as an extensive art gallery ranging from character concepts to variant covers and pinups. The story of the Pyramid Gambit picks up right where the Zero issue left off, mid-clash between Achilles and Gilgamesh. However, Gilgamesh is only the first obstacle, as Achilles will have to learn to work with other heroes, Theseus, Slayer of the Minotaur, and Heracles, conqueror of the 12 Labors, as they face an unbeaten champion in Thupka. Along with the collector's edition, we are offering the 3 main covers of the Pyramid Gambit, as well as some digital options. We hope to see you on the backer list, and thank you again for your interest in Elysian Fields.
All right, gentlemen, what did you think?
Well, I raised my hand because his reading of the book is kind of fun. And then, the way he's kind of surprised, but, he's not. But it kind of lulls there before he actually gets to what he's doing. And that lull is enough to kind of be bored. That's why I raised my hand. But after he gets to it and starts to explain, using these classic heroes, that's really neat. But he does have that part where he starts off reading from the Iliad, I think, and then he kind of drops. I mean, it's kind of slow there for a little bit.
You're not the only person who said that. For the record, the book he's reading is actually the one his dad gave him. And I think that would have been a beautiful moment to say in that, hey, this is a book that I used to be read to me from my dad used to read this book to me, and I now read it to my son. Things like that really can draw people in. So, Mike, Moden, if you're watching, definitely take that into consideration.
Oh,
Jade,
yeah.
what did you think?
Again, it was kind of slow at first. I really liked the music, though. The music fit the theme of the book. The only problem is towards the end, I noticed the music got louder, and it overpowered his voice where I couldn't even like, and I have head going right in my ears, and the music was overtaking what he was saying. So I think if the music was dialed back just a little bit, where it's more like in the background than like in your face, it might be a little bit better there.
All right, I'm in the background trying to get Matt's thing up. Hey, Matt, if you're still watching, I was trying to figure out if this was part of a Kickstarter that's coming or going. If it's a Kickstarter that's already there, do me a favor and message it to us, because I can rip the videos off of that. I can't rip it off of YouTube because I want to show off your video and we'll give it an idea. But if we play it in the actual, not in the StreamYard, but on this, what we're right here, the browser, it doesn't look as good. But definitely check that out. Ooh, this one's a good Mike. I know you know Meredith, right?
Yeah,
And I backed that book too.
so did I.
Yes, this is a weird one because like you're all fans. So,
And she'll be a guest on my show Friday night. So.
there we go. There we go. All right, some crossovers going on. So check it out. The Compendium of Dread.
Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Welcome to the Compendium of Dread, an anthology of dark fiction that encompasses crime, horror, the paranormal. Your perceptions of the world around you may forever be changed.
All right, what'd you guys do of that video?
Well, I love it because it's short. And it's a horror book. So I mean, it reminds me of intros to the old shows way back when. You know, it had a little spooky intro, and then you were on to the show.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, James? I mean, JW.
It was about to say, like, I liked it because it was short. You know, I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't this long, you know, drawn out thing. The beginning part with that little kid voice that like grabbed you right away. Like it was like, what? What's this? Yeah. So I mean, I've backed this, but I've never watched the video. I'm not one for watching videos for some reason. I usually, if I like it, I back it. That was the first time I seen a video, so I think that was really well done. I liked that.
Well, here's a good question for you. Since you put up a video, have you noticed more people paying attention to your analytic? Are you paying attention to the analytics? Do you notice more people suddenly backing or talking about it, sharing it?
I check those things. Some of them, like, I don't see a whole lot of difference. I know the videos have been watched a lot, like 81 times, which is more backers than I have. So, at least they're watching the video. So,
hey, some of it is just the awareness, though. It sometimes takes a person 3 to like if you ever listen to the marketing stuff, sometimes takes 3 to 5 times for someone to actually get it. And who do I private message it to? Matt, you could do it to me. Let's see. I had your profile up in here. I opened up the messenger. Look in your if you don't see it right away, look in your message requests, and then you can do it to me there. And there we go. There it is. He's already getting me back. So there we go. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. Oh, we've seen the Omni one, so we know about that. And now in previews is Kevin Joseph's Tart Soul Searchers. That's January code JAN211522. And this is going to be the Naked Cannibal Campers. I had to remove the audio track from this morning, and we've had to edit it. It kills me to do so. The reason that you won't have an audio track is because they use certain scenes from the actual movie it's attached to. So what I'm going to let you guys do, if you want to just unmute your mic, we're going to be able to just watch it and talk about it once I hit play. It is one of those moments where he has permission. He's done nothing wrong. I don't have permission to play it. So those copyright permissions don't extend to me. Life can be complicated with copyright, guys. It really can. But again, they did nothing wrong. That's why we're still playing the video. It just so happens that the extended rights don't come to me. So here we go. Oh, it didn't even mute us because it doesn't have an audio track. That's good to know. All right, even better.
It's weird to watch one without audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little surreal.
I think this guy is a really good artist. We picked up some original art from him, and we've watched several shows about the naked cannibal campers. I think it's really neat that they took a DVD and they have the rights to it, and they're going to extend it and do stuff with it. And after this, I'm going to go and actually watch the video because I've seen them talk about it, but I've never actually watched the video.
You know, the sad thing is it's actually a rather good video. It definitely grabs my attention, the video, and the fact that it has this problem kind of bothers me, that we can't show it, and we had to even edit it, and that's because Facebook rules, you know, they're Facebook. So because they're Facebook, I can't, you know.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to get, you know, yourself in trouble or, you know, the show in trouble or whatever.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm always a fan of trying to help everyone out. You can't help people out if one person by accident, because that does happen. Some people don't even realize that things are copyrighted. You know, copyrights can be complicated. On this show, we've dealt with that fact. We've dealt with the fact that sometimes someone uses something they don't mean to use, and the next thing you know, it's a problem. So, all right. We have that video. I have actually been able to get the video up. And you guys can see right now, I'm trying to, oops, sorry about that. Loading the video now. So this is the Kickstarter for what's going to be coming up soon. Mythica. Am I saying that right, Matt? Matt was the one who asked us to look at his thing, Matt Campbell. This is Mythica. It's a second. But before we do that, I just wanted to see if you guys had any other questions about the naked cannibal campers. I know that, Mike, you said you want to see the video, so I do want you to tell me privately later today, or even in this thread, come back and say what you thought of the actual video. You know, that's fine, because it is different when you hear the music and you get to see some of the naughty bits.
Everybody loves naughty bits.
It's always different when there's naughty bits.
Anything called naked cannibal campers, I mean, immediately breaks your brain. Think of stuff. Just
right? Like you're like, okay, yes. Like I saw this, and I didn't like the camping part or the cannibal part. I'll be honest, neither one of them. Although I thought it was a totally different movie and thing. I heard all I saw was naked cannibals, and I'm like, so it's girls eating each other. So I was excited, and then I realized it wasn't what I thought it was.
Yeah. This is the very first campaign that I've ever had to delete my pledge so I could pledge higher. I don't know how to do it the other way. I know it can be done, but when we backed this book, we backed it at like the $20 range or something. And then as we were hearing the guys talk, and we had a lot of stuff going on at the time in our house, but we found out there was a DVD you could get for like a $60 pledge. The church's like, oh, we got to have the DVD to go with it. So I tried to figure out how to just change my pledge, and I couldn't do that because I'm not tech savvy. So I had to delete a pledge, the first one ever from Kickstarter. Just no, I delete this pledge and then pledge it higher because it seems like it should be a fun book.
It's complicated changing your. It's not just you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to back out of it. Like Kickstarter, that's one thing I like Kickstarter as a platform. I think they do a wonderful job, but they do not make it user friendly. Some of the steps, You could tell it was a tech guy who built it.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be some tweaks within the Kickstarter programming to make some things a little bit easier.
Yeah, so, but I'm sure they'll get there one day when they're all grown up.
And
All right.
3 more services that you can choose from then.
When they get more of that Boom Studios money.
That Boom, yeah. Get more of those famous people coming out of their they'll be like, oh, wow, maybe we should make it better now. Now that real people are using it, you hurt our feelings, Kickstarter, so much. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to play this new video. And we'll let it play the entirety because he did ask nicely. But do raise your hands to show when you lost your attention span for this so he can see it. No pressure, Matt. Well, I'm sure Matt's like, oh boy, here it comes. All right, so I did check it. As far as I know, the music is fine. It is not copyrighted. It did not come up on my Shazam. So fingers crossed, no whammy. Here we go. All right, what'd you guys think? Oh, we have the wrong thing up now.
I think that video has the best used music I've seen in a long time. I'm not 100% sure if the comic itself is as appealing as the music is. The soundtrack to that was just awesome. It held my attention the entire time.
What do you think, JW?
I agree with the music, but as a person who doesn't like to read my ads, like I can't watch foreign films because I can't sit there and read a movie. I just like to have someone tell me about their project rather than me seeing a bunch of pictures flash on the screen. And I read slow, so I'm like trying to read that text so I can understand what the story's about. And it's just going so fast, and I'm like, I give up. I can't.
Well,
I don't know.
The sad part is, you know, I love the music. I wouldn't stop the video because I would listen to the song.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what happened. I was like, all right, I'll listen to music, and I'm not even like really paying attention to the.
I did catch the part where the girl smashed the guy with her breast. I mean,
that might make me back the book just by that. So.
And I
And
did
she's
read there
naked.
at the end a little bit, but I didn't learn a lot about the book. I mean, at the end of it, I don't know very much about the book except it has a really good song.
I'll say this because he asked for the opinion, and I'll chime in a little heavier than I would normally. I think it's great art. I think it's fantastic art. I think it's got a story there that I'm more interested in. Of course, just reading right here, when you start seeing some of this thing, these the words that are here, they're so important, and it really starts to fill you in on what's going on. Demons, dames, and a Scottishman with a blade. That's a great tagline, you know? There's some great taglines in here. I would say to try to get someone to voice over this. Even if you do it at the end of the show, start the Kickstarter video real quick with you. I'll be right back. Play that badass video, and then when you're back, come in and go, let me explain what you just saw. Give this pitch real quick. Take 20, 30 seconds to do it. Or get someone who's got a good voice, who could be your announcer voice for this video, and have them overlay their voice on it. Plus, I mean, this is just a personal thing. I hate when people make their comics motion. If your book's not motion, don't make it motion. And that's just a personal thing. You don't have to listen to me. I know some people don't mind it. I don't like it. If it's not a motion book, don't make it a motion book. I say that knowing Marvel does it, and DC now does it. So I do understand they do it. It's a personal peeve of mine, but I think the art's wonderful. I think the music was really well put together. But like JW said, we don't want to read. We want to read the comic book, not the video.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine with reading. I generally can read. I was a bit distracted by the music anyway, but I mean, this is a book that has vampires and demons in it. It's something that, you know, me and Trish check out, and I probably will check out this now. But yeah, the music, it's good, but it's also distracting.
He said he missed all the feedback, so you guys want you want to start back over from the beginning, just because he just got back, so we can help him out here, so he doesn't have to watch through the whole video. So go ahead, Mike, start off.
I really love your music. I think it's incredible. I would never stop it because I was listening to the music. I didn't catch as much about the book as, you know, I'd want to. I didn't know there were vampires and demons in the book. I did know there was a girl with, you know, breasts, and I knew that there was a guy with a sword because, you know, I seen pictures here and there. But I was more into the music than I was paying attention to the comic.
Yeah. Again, I like the music. I personally would rather have a voiceover, someone telling me about the book. I lost interest about halfway through because I'm trying the panels and stuff were just flying in. I'm trying to read the text so I can try to get an idea what the book was about. And about halfway through, I just gave up and just listened to the music because I'd rather someone tell me in a video what their book is about than me trying to like read what their book is about. Because then why have a video? You could just put text on the thing and I can read that. That's
well, for the most part, I go to Kickstarters and I read them. I don't watch as many videos as other people probably do. So I'm gonna read Kickstarters when I run into them. But if I ran into this video, I'd listen to the song, but I still wouldn't know anything about the book.
Yeah. But I know since Matt's here, I've never heard of this, and this is issue 7, right? So, like, have all 6 issues been on Kickstarter before? Because, I mean, I've been on Kickstarter for 4 years, 5 years, and I've never heard of it. And so, is there a way that you have, like, all 6? You have, like, a graphic novel or whatever, or is that in the thing?
Hold on.
I would like to know that.
Catch-up tier. That's really useful.
Yeah, that's actually a great question, by the way. I'm looking right now. Yes, you can get a PDF.
I hate PDFs. I want physical.
Well,
usually if you can get a PDF, they have the physical copies.
Yeah.
They're always more expensive.
Oh, yeah, but I'd rather have a physical book than a PDF.
And he said yes. And yes, all 3 were kickstarted together. I guess all 6, I'm sorry, were kickstarted together. I think he did the first 6 together. So he's got to be heading towards a trade. That art is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
Did a great
that's what grabbed me first is that art. When you first brought up that cover, I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. I like that art. So,
I mean, it's like a smash hit book, honestly.
Yeah. As an artist, like I tell people all the time, I'll buy a book because I like the art. I mean, I don't care usually who writes it. Like, I'm not a person who is like following certain writers or anything like that. But if I go to a shop and there's a book there I've never seen before, and if it doesn't look good, it could be written by Stan Lee. I'm putting it back because comics are obviously a visual medium. So I like to. I need to have the art grab me before I get into the story. So
I got to have a story. I mean, I would follow a writer before I'd follow an artist. In fact, when I was growing up, I thought the artists were interchangeable, like in Marvel and DC. Like they moved them around occasionally, but I knew that writers stayed with books.
That's kind of how it is now. Like they change.
I like that picture a lot.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you, this is one of those Kickstarters that, and it looks like a great story. I love the pitch line, right here in a dark fantasy world where it's World War I and the Fae folk are among us. A Scottish soldier, a sultry super spy, and a flavorful variety of other characters fight for their lives against vampires and demons. That's great wordplay right there. To Mike's point, like that hooks me. I'm like Mike. Art's art, and I can be like, oh, that's pretty. But then you put a story behind it, and you got me. You got me if there's a story behind it. It's like, Mike, any artist can draw a really hot woman. It takes a lot to put a really hot woman in a great story, and that's what I think we have here. Never having read it, Matt, I'd love to read this book, actually. I love the logo, too. The logo you guys came up with is fantastic. This, like, heavy being, like, that brings out my metalhead.
I was gonna say that's a very metal logo right there.
Right? Like I was like Mike bouncing my head listening to the music as we're going. I'll back it when it's on. And clearly you don't mind us talking about this. I love the art. Put in that intro. Yes, put in the intro. And he said, "Thank you. I made the art." So this is a pretty good moment for him, because if we had said the art was horrible, he would be like, "I hate you all."
Never going on that show again.
Very Metallica inspired. Yes, yes, it is. I dug it. And he said, where is it? He made the point.
He made the logo too, he says.
He made the logo. No, he made a point I want to read out. But then I saw that. He had said something. Here we go. He said, I can do the intro before the music starts as an intro. Yes. That's very important, I think, right, Mike? If you saw him on the thing and said, hey, I'm about to show you something real quick, this is my pitch, give the elevator pitch at the very beginning and say, I'll be right back to explain some more. And then just at the end of it, just talk about the 6 issues being available. Because clearly, JW was like, hey, and Mike are like, this is issue 7. How do I jump on? Like, is this just issue 7? So, I would
I have seen other books that are like 5 or 6 in on their Kickstarter, but they have no way for me to catch up. Well, I'm not going to come into a book in issue 6 or 7 and no way to, know what the story was beforehand. So,
yeah, and I would definitely suggest going forward to everybody start naming your chapters instead of issue numbers. Give the chapter name, and that
when I relaunched Omni, that's what I did, and everyone's like, "Why are you doing that? Why are you always use a number?"
That's old school mentality. That's most Kickstarters that have a number 1 do better than every other comic they release unless they grow their fan base. And it's always easier to do a number 1. The reason is people don't want to play catch up. So if you get them hooked, with art and a story, they'll go back and get the other issues. But the minute you see 7, you're like, do I want to have to now read 7 books?
Yeah.
It's like going on a date with a girl with 7 kids.
Well, no, it's not the same as 7. I mean, because going on a date with a girl with 1 kid is still, she's got stuff that she might have to do instead. 7 kids, kind of crazy, but I like that there's 7 books because, I mean, it shows that if you like this story, you're going to have somewhere to go. I mean, it's not one and done. Sometimes ones scare me in a way because I'm like, what if I love this book and they never come out with a second issue?
Right.
The number one thing that scares me about indie publishers is that I'm going to get invested in it and it's going to be done.
Yeah. But that's why I made sure I had more than the first issue done when I relaunched Omni. Like, shortly, all the first 4 issues will be done. So that way I don't have that problem. That way, as throughout this year, I can work on 5, 6, 7, 8, You know, I like to have that. I learned that actually when I worked at DC, because their books are done like 6 months ahead of time. If no one knew, but so the books that they're like putting out now, some of them aren't like that are in preview. Some of them aren't even like, you know, really done yet. But they have to have 6 issues done before they even announce the book's gonna be, you know, come out. So that's something important. I mean, I have many of books I've backed at #1, and I've never seen anything after that.
Chuck says it. Mike knows Chuck. Chuck always says if you put a #1 on your book, that means you're guaranteeing a #2.
Yeah.
And you better come out with a #2. And that's why, you know, even for me, I didn't start a spin-off series until I finished the first 3 issues, which were a story arc. But I wanted everyone to feel that was completed because I follow up and I finish what I start. Matt says I could call it Cape Wrath, and I like that. I definitely think you just imagine Mythica, Cape Wrath. I'd back that just on name alone.
Yeah.
That's one of the really cool like metal names. You get that thing. I dig it. Think you did well. A little bit of a tweak here and there, and you're gonna have something perfect. We also have Tom asking us apparently to look at his videos. First time we've actually had 2 people actually subject themselves to this live.
They've chose a really good day because I mean I think me and JW are pretty chill and we're mostly letting these things. We haven't stopped one yet. I don't believe.
Yeah,
Oh.
Meredith is the killer of videos. Meredith is the one you want to.
That's because Meredith doesn't care.
Meredith's like, I don't give up.
Well, Trish actually got up and went to the bathroom during the video, so I was like, she's really giving up on that one.
I'd love to try and be a guest on the show when it's closer to February 24th. I would love to have you on. I'd love to hear more about this. You're absolutely welcome. Reach out to me. You have my messenger, and we'll arrange it. You'll be on one of the shows coming up, and we'll get you on your Kickstarters live.
I'd be happy to have Matt on my show too on Friday nights. Just hit me up on my Facebook. It's James Sims. Easy enough to find. I do my shows on Friday night, so.
Yeah, I can connect you.
Find me on Facebook. You are not looking.
But we're going to move on to the next one. I just have to quickly make sure there's no music stuff in the background that would be bad. So I'm still here. You guys can continue to talk. I'm just running.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
Let me give you a topic.
I'll be right back, guys. Oh, actually, you know what? I can play a quick video about this way we're also taking care of business. I want to tell you guys about the importance of a single dollar. Never underestimate the power of a single dollar. Just one single dollar can help make dreams come true. Every dollar is a declaration of support and belief. It helps the creators and the teams behind the book. Just $1 helps create new worlds and keeps creators creating. And if you're going to be creating something on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, get Kickstarter for the Independent Creator, 2nd edition, a practical and informative guide to crowdfunding by Madeline Holly-Rosing and Christy Shin. It is an amazing book that will help you navigate the ins and outs of crowdfunding. All right. And we're going to be viewing this right now in just a minute. I'm actually going to take the video, which I now have permission because they've asked me. So no one give me that, oh, Rob's taking videos without permission. No, they asked for it. They want this. Okay, so this is a pretty big video for some reason. 28 megabytes. I gotta remember that. This might take a minute to load. That's why I mention it. So talks amongst yourselves. No, but I want to ask you guys one thing. When you watch the video, do you watch the videos when you head to a Kickstarter right away, or do you look through the Kickstarter first? Like you see the link on Facebook, you've already decided to click it. What makes you take that next step?
Go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead.
I will when I hardly ever watch the video unless after going through that I'm still like I'm not sure what this book's about. So then I'll watch the video and hopefully they tell me. But I usually will check out like what the story's about, which should be like one of the first things that are there. And then I like to see what the pledge goals are because I'm very much a physical level backer. And and hopefully they're not charging an arm and a leg for a single floppy comic, which I have seen some people do. But yeah, that's just
what is too much to you, out of curiosity? Like,
depending on the page length. But if it's just your normal 20 to 24 page, if it's $15 and then I have to pay shipping on that, I might, $20 is kind of steep for a single issue, especially if it's just like a main cover, nothing special. But that being said, I will, like, if there's an artist cover an artist that I follow and they have a cover on that book, I will almost always take that cover. Yeah, I $10 to $15 for a 20 to 24 page standard comic is about the most I'll go.
What do you think, Mike?
When I go down to pick up my comics at the local comic shop I get bent out of shape when books hit about $10, and that's if Marvel or DC puts out a book and they raise the price to $10. I'm like, I don't know, that sounds crazy. And then I found that when I'm looking at indie stuff, which is always more expensive, basically, me and Trish have gotten many $20 comics. It feels like, and I'm not a big cover guy. I'll choose if there's 7 covers. I will choose my favorite every time. But I probably won't pay an extra $10 to get one cover over another cover. But so I'm really. It depends on how much it interests me. I mean, it feels like with indie books, if I'm slightly interested and it's like $10 and I can get it in my hands, that's a super great deal. Like, oh, that'd be worth reading.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, much like JW said, when you start to tack, it's this much, and then there's shipping, and then you're like, oh. I do know that I pay a lot more for indie books than I pay for Marvel books because, I mean, $20 is 5 normal books currently at the local comic shop. So, I'm certainly hoping that it's what I'm looking for when I get it.
Yeah. I think the way I look at it is, when you go to buy Marvel and DC stuff, you're buying stuff, one, that you already know. So you're buying it for entertainment, really. That's what it is. It's just like watching your favorite TV show. So, you buy that to read your favorite characters. Whereas when you're backing things on crowdfunding or just buying indie books, I think you're more supporting that creator than actually the book.
Yeah, 100%.
You see many people who will say, "Oh, I have all this stack of crowdfunding things I haven't even opened yet." It's like, really? I mean, I do that too. I have a stack of books. I've backed. I think I've backed more this year than I have ever before. So I have a stack of stuff that I'm trying to work through and do reviews on. But my Marvel stuff, I get that every week or so, and I read that book probably that day. Like, I get it, I come home, I read it, and then it goes into a pile. So, I can't. No, excuse me.
It's cool. I'm taking a loot crate, and it holds my current Marvel and DC titles that I'm reading.
Nice.
But I buy at least 50 comics every month from Marvel and DC. So, I mean, I read a tremendous amount of stuff.
Yeah,
price is a thing.
Now, back in the 90s, when I was just getting out of high school, my pull list, I would go and once every 2 weeks when I got paid, and I'd spend $40 to $50 on my pull list. And you figure books back then were $2. So, I mean, I was coming out every 2 weeks with a stack. Like, I was reading literally everything that wasn't Superman, which is ironic because I am not a huge Superman fan, and yet my comic book back here behind me is very much everyone, a Superman-like character. But yeah, excuse me, I got like stuff. But yeah, I would much rather spend $10 on a creator that I like an indie creator to see their book come out than spend that $10 on a book for Marvel or DC, who my $10 isn't going to make a difference to them.
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I've met Marvel and DC creators, although that I find to be very, very good people.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've done work with DC back before my cancer, so I mean, I've got to know some people who I've worked with, and most of the I'm going to say most of the comic book guys you meet, that work in Marvel and DC, they don't change when they start working on. They're still this comic book geek from when they were a teenager, and they're just happy to be working on a book like that. So, but then you have a few who let it get to their heads. We're not going to mention any names. Who think now they're gods because they've got to work on,
I don't know.
comic book.
As a comic book fan, I did think they were gods. I actually was let down when I found out they weren't. I had a great experience early on with going to Chicago Comic-Con, because I was really into this little tiny title called Preacher by Garth Ennis.
Yes, Garth.
Went to Chicago Comic-Con when Preacher first came out, and I was super into it, and it was getting to be a hot book. But at the time, Garth Ennis had a really tough accent. He could speak English, but he had a really hard accent, and it was hard to understand him. You had to look at him, and sometimes you had to ask him. I didn't understand. So it was a little difficult to talk to him. But he was Garth Ennis, and he wrote a title I loved. And so me and my friend, we went, we were talking to him, and he was having a hard time with other people too, because some people just didn't want to hang out with him. And he ended up spending quite a bit of time with us. Just walked around, introduced us to people that he knew from DC and some of the other people. It was a great, 45 minutes or an hour or so. And he was kind of like a god to me. I mean, he wrote a title I loved.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of humanized a lot of those people.
Yeah, when you see like a person that you not so much idolize, because I hate that word, but that you look up to, and they're taking the time to just treat you like you're you're one of their friends. I mean, where they don't make it seem like that they're looking down at you because I work for one of these big companies. Hey, let me sign your book and be gone.
Yeah. It wouldn't happen twice to me that somebody would do that. I mean, I'd be done with them. And worse, Trish would be done with them if they hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing for me to be mad at you, because that's just me being. But once Trish gets upset, it's over.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments with the creators is George Perez came up, visited my table, and asked me about one of the books I had on my table because he'd heard about it. I was like my jaw dropped. I was like, "Are you sure you want to talk to me?" Like, of all the people. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing like hanging out with creators that are cool. I've met both sides, having done press and being a creator. And JW, I'm sure you felt this when you're a nobody, they treat you like you're a nobody. And the minute they know your name, they start treating you different. And I've always said, I will never treat anyone that I meet on this road any different than I treat any other human being. Doesn't matter how, like, outside of course, when I'm at The Rock where I pee myself. I would be like, it's The Rock. I'd be like a teenage girl. But no, seriously, I mean, I learned early on in this process that we're all just human beings, and we can't ever treat anyone poorly, and I never treat anyone poorly that I meet. I don't care. I've had people talk to me for an hour and a half about the Little Ponies, and this guy was so animate and so energetic about it. And the person I was sharing the table with turned to me and said, "Did he buy a book?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Why would you let him stay for an hour and a half?" I was like, "Because he needed someone to talk to." He just needed that moment to talk to someone and someone to just take him serious. I was like, what? Because they're like, they pointed out, you probably lost a sale or two. I was like, if they don't come back, it means that they weren't serious about my book, But now this kid, the one who talked to me for an hour and a half, anytime he runs into me, he comes.
He's going to, yep.
Now he's bought books from me, All because I gave him the time of day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because he might not have had you don't know, like maybe he, only had enough money to get to the con that day. But you took the time to talk to him. Now, next time he sees you, he might have money. He's like, hey, there's Rob. And he goes over and buys like one of everything you have because he has money this time. Because you took the time to treat him like a person and not money.
Yeah. Like this one year I gave a kid a book, and he was like around 20, not really a kid, just becoming a man.
To us, he's a kid.
Yeah, because I'm old now.
Yeah.
But I gave him a book because he didn't have enough to buy the book, and I said, "This is on me. Just next time you see me, I want you to come up and tell me what you thought of the book." And he's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "If one book stops me as a creator, I shouldn't be on this floor." And every so often, I do like to give a book out because that's nice to give someone something. Because I've always been a creator who wants them to read what I write. I'm not good with the money end. I would rather people just read what I'm like a kid. Please tell me. Like what Mike did was like Christmas morning to me. He doesn't even understand it because he actually talked about the things I was behind creating. A year later, this guy comes in. And I remembered him right away, and I even remembered his name. And I'm not sharing his name just because I don't do that with these stories. But he came up to me, he had a big smile. You could tell things were better because he had told me a story and it wasn't going good for him. And he was like, "Oh, things are so much better." And they're like, "Okay, I want to buy 2 of your books." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I want 2 because I want to be able to give them away because I really loved what you did." And he told me how much he loved the story. He bought literally something just to give away to people. I was blown away. He spent like $100 at my table. And I mean, literally, I tried to give him change. He's like, "No, I'm in a good place right now. You did something nice for me." He's like, next time someone can't afford a book, it's on me. How cool is that? And you don't get those moments, like Mike was saying, unless you treat people like humans, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, all right, Tom, you asked for it. We're going to play your video. It finally finished loading. But, okay, here we go, guys. This is Death Dwells. You guys ready?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. I see you raising your hand, Mike. I'm just waiting to see if Jay Duff. All right, gentlemen. Well, actually, this is the only video you guys have paused. Well, this is the one of the day. So, Mike, you were first. What knocked you out of wanting to continue playing the video?
Well, it has a bit of a slow start, and I'm not really learning anything about it. And the entire time, I figure we're getting to a Walking Dead type situation, but we're not getting there very fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing anything that makes me want to get the book. I've read Walking Dead. I own 10 graphic novels, I think, of Walking Dead. So, I mean, I need something to say this book would be good too.
Yeah.
And it was very slow for me in the beginning.
You're up, JD.
All right. Well, right away, the black and white, it already and him with the bat gave me the Walking Dead vibes. Like right away, I'm like, this is already feeling like something I've already read. And then when it got to another thing is like when that text would come in, it was all shaky. Like I have trouble seeing, so by the time I was able to focus to read that, it was off the screen. So it was getting kind of just like I'm going to give up on this. But then once I saw the zombies, I was like, I'm done, because it's just The Walking Dead. That's what people are gonna. I mean, it's black and white. It's got that same vibe to it. So it'd be like, I've already read this.
Oh, I feel bad now. The video would have survived Trish. She was still into it. I am more critical today than Trish.
Yeah.
I'm the killer of videos, Junior.
Meredith has no. I'll say this: I don't like the fact that it was, and we'll play it again without. Can I take the music off? I don't think. Oh, I can play it here. I'll play it on this, and we'll just mute it, and we'll let Trish see the whole thing while we continue to talk. I'll say this again: I hate motion.
As soon as I seen that leg go, I was like, "Well, Rob's done."
Yeah, like that. That would instantly get me. The art's fine. Like I have nothing about the art, but I have the ADHD like you wouldn't believe. Like I mean, I was one of the first kids on Ritalin. I'm already out. This takes too long to get anywhere as a person. You haven't you have to get my. I'm like a freaking kid. If you don't get my attention span around, I'm like the Joker. I'll walk away. I'll just walk away.
I think something that would have helped that. I mean, I understand. Like I like having those. Because it's not as long a time between where we have the text. But if you had someone like a voiceover also reading that, so it's just like, because not everybody's like, there's dyslexic people who they still like comic books.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic. I know what you mean. Sometimes on the screens, it's harder to get your eye to play.
Yeah, to focus on it before it's gone again. Like it's just like.
And I think this spends too much time trying to make it seem like what it's not. Comic book fans, we know what we're setting up for. This looks like it's supposed to be a motion comic. And maybe we're wrong. If Tom's around, he can tell us, is this a motion comic? He said, he's still around. He said, it's nothing like The Walking Dead, but I respect that. And I think the point is they don't know any better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can go back to Omni. Everyone says it looks like Superman. So I get the same thing, and I understand that. But that's why I had to make the video to explain that it's not Superman, because, I mean, people will make a judgment within the first couple seconds of seeing something. As soon as you see a black and white comic book that has zombies, that's what people are going to think of. It's just automatically going to be Walking Dead. So you need to show them something pretty early on that says this is not The Walking Dead.
Well, I think that also what hurts it is this entire video style is like the rolling credits for The Walking Dead.
Yep, exactly.
It is literally what The Walking Dead looks like when they're starting their show. I think that's where you kind of stepped into the Walking Dead problem, because our minds are going to see something similar with things. It's how we're developed as humans. That looks like the beginning of The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
I watched the entire video.
Yeah.
And he says it's nothing like The Walking Dead. I'm not sure what it's be then. I mean, because I figured, I mean, even seeing the whole video, that it was supposed to end up being like The Walking Dead. And there's a lot of ways to play around that. And it's like anything. I mean, JW was talking about his book seems like Superman. Well, I mean, the guy flies, he gets into space. He seems to be really powerful. He has a lot of Superman qualities. This video has a lot of Walking Dead qualities. That doesn't make it a bad thing, because, I mean, there's a lot of tales still to be told around those mediums.
Yeah, we just have to know why yours is different than the 100 and whatever copies of Walking Dead I've sitting over here in a long box.
See, I'm hearing, like, I'm reading this really quickly just because you guys were asking about The Walking Dead. You're talking about how it's different, but I think you're not showing us something different.
Because the covers that you're running through look like zombie covers.
Yep.
Like this.
Yeah, like what makes your zombies different? Like, that's one thing I liked about was that 28 weeks and 28 weeks later. It was a zombie movie, but those zombies were different. Like, they could run, and like, what I mean, it gave it a different feel than every other George Romero zombie thing we've seen.
I liked that cover. I mean, it was a good cover for a zombie book, but I mean, this might not be a zombie book. I don't know. I don't know what it would be then.
I think what he was saying is that this is a different take on a zombie book. But again, if you're not conveying that, it's just we're going to get lost in what we know. We're instantly going to think, okay, so this is The Walking Dead. So if anyone's a Walking Dead fan, they're going to probably
like it. I mean, I am. I seen that early this morning when I was on I jumped on Kickstarter to check if I had sent any miracle pledges overnight. And I had seen that on there, and I was like, I'll have to check that out later. But now we just checked it out. So, I mean, I'll probably end up backing it because I do like zombie stuff.
Well,
coming from Pittsburgh, where like the capital of zombies.
Well, and it's not an expensive book.
No. Oh, no.
All right. And it says Tom says it's government takeover. I would have never gotten that from anything that was
Nope.
Tim Vigil, the Naughty Campers people are hoping to get a Tim Vigil cover, so this guy's already got a Tim Vigil cover. That's amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, like I said earlier, I mean,
I know that guy. That's he's actually in charge of. He's the head editor at Scout Comics now. He's my friend. Mr. Molinari does an amazing book called The Shepherd. The Shepherd. It's now going to be coming out through Caravan, which is a imprint for Scout Comics. And Joel Rodriguez. Oh, Joel, he lettered it. I wanted lettering so bad. No, I'm kidding. I love it. Congratulations, by the way. I think it's the first time I'm saying it on camera because I think I knew before anyone else knew that the baby was born. But Joel had a beautiful baby boy over the holidays.
Oh, so, congrats
to him and Chrissy. Amazing stuff. You got a good team behind it, good amount of people behind it. But again, I would have never thought government with any of this. And I hope we're not spoiling anything. But sometimes the comparisons, when you get this close to something, your comparisons are always going to be your comparisons. Mm-hmm. You have to accept that there's a little bit, especially with the video that looks like it's The Walking Dead. I mean, this is almost a shot for shot at points of The Walking. I can show you the exact one I'm talking about. This
with the trees and like how it's got that crackly paper looking stuff.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah.
Right here. That if you go look at The Walking Dead.
I think except for there's like a thing hanging off the tree, like there's some like wind chaser thing. Or wind catcher. Yeah. That's it.
I love this, but I mean it didn't show me more than just another. I mean, I would probably read another zombie book. So Trish loves zombie books. We're gonna be picking up a few more here soon. Oh, Trish, back to work.
I'm waving, Trish. You just can't see me because today's my non-camera day. I keep making facial things and like you guys aren't seeing them. I'm like, my jokes don't land right without the funny face I have. I didn't make the video. You'd have to ask him. LOL. Well, I mean, as the creator, you need to be behind your video. And I'm going to say that to not just Tom, but everyone else. You can't say, well, someone else made the video. No, you're the director. You're the director of that video because it's your project. You have to make sure it is what you want it to be. So if you need to have it, understandable, guys. Thanks for the review. Totally respect your opinions. Much appreciated. You're welcome. We're happy to have helped. Hopefully, you can go talk to the guy who made the video and be like, hey, have you seen the beginning of Walking Dead? I'm thinking you have.
Or if you didn't, you think a lot of like.
Oh, he was talking about the tree. Tom said I was only talking about the tree.
Oh,
the
okay.
tree is a big thing because that's literally in the Walking Dead opening.
Yeah.
Well, I can actually go back and make sure he didn't take this from that. I would just make sure.
Well, yeah, but
really close.
Tree, I mean, that's been a lot of horror things over the years. So I mean.
I'm not a horror person. Don't hate me. I'm not a horror person. I get my horror from CNN, Mike. That's where I get it.
No, that makes you the bravest person I know because I can't watch CNN, but I can watch any horror movie there is. But CNN, that's terrifying.
I know. I have the covers over my head. I'm like scared. I'm like, Jax, be quiet. The world is ending.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am when I watch CNN. Just scared and.
I'm telling you, like, I put on cartoons now. I love having HBO Max. I've been watching the Batman animated series again. I'm happy. Anytime I want to put on CNN, I slap my hand and go, "You go watch Batman. You go watch what's important."
Yeah.
All right, guys. Just some quick housekeeping. We're out of here because our time is ran, and I know JW's got to get back to the salt mine to get that Kickstarter funded onto the stretch goals and all that good stuff. Richard Rivera gives us Scoots, Wild Bill, and Chipper #1 in previews now. It's going to be released on March 13th, if I remember correctly. That's code JAN211525 and Fractured. Oh, we have one more video.
Oh,
It's
yes.
not going to play Fractured Shards. Oh man, I would have gotten a nasty note about that. He's a friend. Sean would have been like, "How come you didn't play my video?" What's going on, Rob?
You don't love me anymore?
Yeah, we got so involved. We actually have 2 more videos, so let's get these out and about Fractured Shards.
Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Dan Furigal, and this is my graphic novel.
Mike is tapped out. I have tapped out. I just tapped out again.
I want to know what the book's about.
That
I don't care about who, like all those companies that make it. Get to the book already.
He did great. I mean, he had a little brief snippet there where he's like, "Hey, this is me. This is my video." And then there's a long pause. Yeah, that part where it's just him.
Yeah.
And then there's like slowly getting to some. I mean, we never even got to the video itself. I mean, it felt like we were.
These are made more and more like movie trailers.
I was going to say that. It felt like I was in the movies and you're waiting and waiting. And they have to go through 40 different studios that had something to do with this book. I'm like, I don't care what studio had to do with this book. Just show me the book.
But movie trailers are meant to be like you went to the movies and you're trapped there. Just
Yes.
like,
Well said. Mike. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not trapped on Kickstarter. If I get bored on Kickstarter, I'm just another one.
Yep.
1minute and 47 seconds in, he comes back, and by then you're gone.
Yeah. Oh, that's 1minute and 47 seconds should be almost your whole video. Really, I mean, 90 seconds. You know, less than. I don't think it should be over 2 minutes. When you start getting into the 5-minute videos, I'm like,
Meredith's video earlier couldn't be a minute long. I don't think.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
in and out, in and out.
Yep, in and out. Told us what it was, and she was done.
And that was amazing. And you know, like, look, I love the energy, but you guys, you have to understand, especially like they're saying Kickstarter videos, we're paying you to help you make the book. We don't want to sit through this long thing. At this point, you heard I tapped out twice. Like that waiting, it kills me. I can't even wait in lines, guys. I'm that bad of a person. I see a line, I put my groceries back. I'm like, I'll eat pasta for a week, or I'll eat ramen noodles.
Yeah.
But the guy seems charismatic enough that, you know, he had that little snippet in the beginning. I was perfectly fine with it. And
Yeah, I was gonna say this is what we do with some of these videos. Someone just come in and say, "Hey, this is who I am. Here's my Kickstarter." But the video should start right then. It should like boom, go right into it. It shouldn't give us another minute and a half of what's all this crap.
Yeah, I mean it's rough, and I like Sean. He's the bomb. He's a great guy. But we tell him all the time. Every time he's come on this show, we've told him stop wasting that time. It should not take 1minute and 56 seconds for me to be interested in your video.
well, it looks like the video is over. It's 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah, it's way too long, and that's because of the stall. Think about it. If you cut 1minute and 56 seconds out right now, you'd have
A minute.
Half long video. Yeah.
That's what it should be.
yeah. That would be it. And let's actually look at the back end of it and see if that's any better. We'll actually, because that Sean's a friend, we'll give him some love. Oh, I muted him.
Fractured Shards is set in a dystopian future where the world is separated into 2 very, very distinct groups: the opulence of the lights and the slums of the district. The hero of this piece is Sebastian Vicho. He's a detective for the District Major Crimes Unit who works as an enforcement officer between the 2 worlds. When a horrific event occurs, sometimes that moment in time can fracture. And that fractured moment, or shard, contains almost everything you need to see in that event. Detective Vitro can sense that shard. You see, Sebastian has the ability to tap into the quantum world where everything that has ever happened and will happen exists all at once. And with that, he can get a glimpse into the crime. But not all is as it seems. So, who would like this book? Fans of Judge Dredd, Transmetropolitan, Ronin, Ghost in the Shell, and other cyberpunk dystopian stories, as well as people who like the movies Blade Runner, Watchmen.
You can't review your own book. I think that
Yeah.
should be against the rule. You can't start reviewing your own book and telling people. You're not telling me enough about the story. Am I the only one who feels that way?
Yeah, I don't know why he started what he's doing right here. I don't need to know what else I would.
Yeah,
watch.
because I like,
And he was doing good. I mean, he
because
was
it'll
talking-
remind me. Oh yeah, I want to watch Blade Runner, and then you're gonna click off this, and you're gonna go to
That's what I
Netflix
did.
and buy Blade Runner.
I was like, ooh, cyberpunk. That reminds me of Vanessa's book that I really like, and that reminds me of that cyberpunk video game. Oh God, what a horrible train wreck! That's like my mind stopped paying attention.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
and
You
this,
give me other things to think about besides your book. And
this guy has something amazing too. He's got like a superpower. He's got a really good voice for just talking to people and a bit of an accent. He could really go somewhere if he just kept talking about his book and getting it through. A minute and 30 seconds of this guy telling you exactly what the book is about. I mean, he doesn't got to give you the whole book, but I mean, this setup for it, you should really check it out. But don't tell me what else I should check out because, I mean,
I might check that out instead.
Now I'm thinking I want to watch Blade Runner, and I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
Just imagine McDonald's saying, "Yeah, our burgers are great, but you should go to Burger King. Those fries are awesome. Ours are like those fries, but not exactly those fries."
Not exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
you don't want to do that because then I want to go somewhere else. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean that little bit of the explanation of the story we got, I was like, that's interesting. It might be something I would like to check out or to know more about, but I don't know if it's enough to make me want to go and back the book,
Yeah, I mean it's even the cyberpunk thing. I was telling someone recently, cyberpunk's getting overplayed. Find a new, take cyberpunk and make it your own. Find a way to add the things together, make it more poppy. Because now some people have used cyberpunk and they're putting up subpar stuff, so they've lowered, especially that video game. You think cyberpunk now, you think failure at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I played cyberpunk growing up. So I played it back in the 90s. That's how old I am. I know. I creak when I walk. I know.
I played Cyberpunk back in the 90s too.
Right? Lloyd, that was bad. Like, I had a character killed on the weird, he got shot in the head in the toilet. And it wasn't even that they were shooting at him. The gun dropped in there when someone else was fighting. I was like, no! I love that character. Not while he was on the pooper. All right.
So tell anybody about this death for at least 10 years.
Yeah. It's like 20 years later, it still bothers me. All right. So this is Ego Raven for for Heir of the First Unicorn. Here we go. Let's see what we got. And where is it? Oh, there it is. JW's out. All right.
I'm sorry. I thought you saw my hand. I raised it up and was.
Oh no, I must have missed this. My apologies. Yeah. When you put it up the second time, I definitely saw it. So, what did you guys think?
Again, reading, but
Yeah.
the again, someone who has trouble focusing. I was keeping up good. Those leaves falling were distracting the crap out of me. But I think it was the second or third set, right after I raised my hand. I don't remember. But there was a long text, and I stumbled on a word reading it, and then the whole thing was gone. So I was like, I'm done. I can't even tell what the book is. I'd much rather someone tell me what their book is about than to put text in their video for me to read a video.
I absolutely agree. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought there was a whole lot of reading to be done, but I can keep up with reading normally. But they also kept throwing leaves in there just to make me distracted. So I missed something. And once I missed something, I'm like, now I got to rewind the video. And I wasn't in charge of rewinding it. So their video was done. I was like,
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's about. I think I've seen something about this before. Like she's a half unicorn, half person. So, I mean, it might be an interesting story, but I was never going to find out what the story was. It was too distracting.
Yeah, and it's got great art, no doubt about it. You were never going to have me with in a man's world, just because I feel like that story's been told so many times. You should have spent more time talking about the unicorn. And it's nothing against it. It's just in a man's world. Well, haven't we seen that story already? Isn't that what Mulan was all about? You know, like, haven't we gone on that journey? I would rather have seen this be a world where women ruled and it was men who have to wear tight little outfits. Those are always funny to me. I love when Star Trek would make those episodes, like when Riker had to be the cute guy, the cute girl. You know, like that was funny. I want those books. All right, guys. Now we are going to do the house cleaning and get out of here because I have to get ready to pick up my son. Indiegogo, now on demand, still has Russ Leach's amazing Only Death Can Save Us. Johnny Phantasm's action figures are still available on in demand over there, as is Seasons. The next issue of Seasons, by the way, I saw is coming soon. Stay tuned. And you can get a free comic book. Mike, I know you've downloaded it. Have you gotten through some of that?
Yeah, I've read the first 8 stories, I think, or so. And I did like your story, but only because it made me nostalgic. I mean,
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw some things in there that I was like, this brings me back to the old days.
Yeah.
They're a pretty wide variety of stories. They're better done than I expected, and some of them get a lot out in 8 issues. I didn't know you could do that much with eight pages.
Yeah.
Well, 8 pages is almost, I mean, depending on what book you're reading, almost half a book. So
I know there's some people who have like 12-page comics out there.
Yeah.
So you're totally right. No, I mean, they nailed it. They did a great job, and you can get your copy. It's a free download. Go to comicbookschool.com. It's right on their front page, and you get a free comic, 144 pages. 2020 did not stop creation, and Panel 1 proved that. And also make sure to check out your previews catalog. You can find it online. Order not only the ones we mentioned today on the show, but there are other ones out there for you to order at your local comic book shop. Continue to spread the word of indie throughout the comic book world. And coming soon, we're going to have Driver 8 issue number 2. Chat and Draw from our good friend Michael Watson is coming. And if you need coverage, send us an email to comicsnewswire@yahoo.com. All right, guys, this is the end of the show. Just tell them where they can follow you, and we're out of here.
You could find me on Facebook. I'll pretty much respond to everything you send me, unless you want to talk to me about Bitcoin, in which case I will tell you I'm not interested.
Dang it, Mike, I was just going to talk to you about Bitcoin.
Yeah, had to stop you.
All right. Well, you can find me, obviously, on Facebook. You can look up either JW Sims, which is my professional page, or my real page, James Sims. Also on Instagram, and that's at hooligan_alley_cosplay. I guess not .com, but you know what I mean. I also have a book currently funding on Kickstarter, Omni. If you you can just go to Kickstarter and look Omni, or you can go to our website at hooliganalleycomics.com and follow the links there.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to the judges for being here. You guys gave some amazing insight. I love hanging out in this show. I wish we had more time to talk more crowdfunding, but it's time to go. I got a little boy to pick up at a school. So I will see you all tomorrow for the actual, believe it or not, we have something to talk about on the Comics Highway. we have a forecast. We're actually going to have one show to be on the forecast. But hey, one is better right now than we were having some parts of the last year. So we'll take one and hope it grows. We'll plant it and see if it can grow bigger cons and other cons out of this one con. And until then, I leave you guys and tell you to use $1 to make a dream come true today. I'm telling you, man, right now, JW is a book. I have to make sure I backed it. I never know if I backed things because I leave them up on my screen for the show and if I backed it or not. But I'll look into that today, and I'll see you all on the next edition of the CNW News. Thank you to the judges for being here.